Hey guys, this is Wayne from the Ball and Breakfast Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, do a little bit of a recap. Uh, Man, what a game with regards to just a butt kicking from the Eagles putting on a butt kicking on the Chiefs there. So I actually was supposed to win $1,000 that the Chiefs won. I made a futures bet, $70 on the Chiefs to beat the Eagles right before the playoffs were beginning there, and it was like plus 1,600. But I was thinking that the Eagles, they had enough talent on that roster. They were playing really well, and I didn't have too much faith with the Lions. They just they were injured, and definitely didn't have faith in Sam Darnold and the Vikings. But the Chiefs, I figured that they were going to somehow end up there like they usually do. And yeah, so I was excited to see that matchup, but obviously lost. So I actually DoorDash some food for, it was actually my birthday for Super Bowl Sunday, and DoorDash some Kansas City burnt ends as well as some Philly cheesesteak from two different restaurants actually. Uh, so the burnt ends were from Smoke Daddy, which I enjoyed. I loved that. Some Kansas City burnt ends, and then also wanted to get some Philly cheesesteaks to kind of like talk about these two food cities over there. But the Philly cheesesteaks, they never came. They never came, and I was like mad. I was like, wait. I was mad at first, but I was like, wait, is this an omen? I think this is an omen. This is an omen of things to come. I figured that I was like, it was a good omen, I think, maybe for me in my bet that the Chiefs were going to win because the Philly food didn't show up. Uh, so I thought about that and I was like, okay, I think this is a good omen for me. Turns out it was the other way. Call me superstitious, but uh, probably just all coincidence, right? But yeah, what a one-sided affair here. Chris Sims, he kind of predicted this actually. He was basically saying that if it can either go one or two ways. It can either go where the uh, it'll be a close game and it'll probably come down to the last play, and then the Chiefs do what Chiefs do. They pull off a miracle of some sort. They make one or two more plays, just win the game. The other side would be if the Eagles just blow out the Chiefs, just undeniably blow them out, which is what happened here. So kudos to Chris Sims, kind of called that out. He's pretty good at making those predictions there. So um, you know, right off the gate, like it was pretty obvious that the pass rush there for the Eagles was getting towards Mahomes, and I think the key thing that I saw was like the Chiefs just never made those adjustments. You thought that you would see maybe a screen or two like after the Eagles defensive line were just going right at Mahomes, but they didn't really set the tone by running the ball early on. It took like maybe like their fourth possession before they like ran, and nothing really happened there. So yeah, they just weren't able to slow down that pass rush at all. And by the time that I think they started doing some screens, maybe like in the start of the second half. I honestly thought like the Eagles probably during halftime they're like, you know what, we've been like kicking their butt and with this pass rush, and they'll probably do some screens. And I saw and noticed that they just were ready for the screens. This Eagles team was just really well coached from the defensive side. Vic Fangio, Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, knew exactly what was going to happen. And yeah, the Chiefs just weren't able to make the adjustments that were necessary for Mahomes to get in a rhythm. Um, Kelsey looked slow, missed several blocks, just was not in sync whatsoever with Mahomes. And yeah, just super slow, sluggish. I don't know what him or Taylor Swift are doing out in New Orleans. I think I saw some photos of them and video of them like out on Friday night. But it's just dinner, right? It's just dinner. But he just looks so like I don't want to be here. Basically, I don't know. I feel like that's the vibe. There's some theories that like this was his last game, but like part of me is also thinking he's, he is still a competitor, right? Like he's still got that inside. I know he's got the podcast thing going, and there's a lot of things going for him after football, but part of me still like at least wants to believe he doesn't want to end out like on this note. Maybe he just needs an off season to like reflect a little bit on that. But yeah, I think he'll still be wanting to end out on a high note, and I believe he has like one more year after this in his contract. So, and he's kind of hinted on that, on staying another year at least in like some of these press conferences during the Super Bowl. So anyway, yeah, there was 6 sacks, 16 pressures against Mahomes. He was inaccurate even when he did have time. It felt like he kind of just rushed things, or just his throws were inaccurate, and that normally a great third down conversion team, they just weren't able to even get those third down conversions. So and then Philly was they were I think definitely Steve Spagnuolo was like, "Hey, we're gonna make sure that Saquon Barkley does not beat us," and he did a good job on that. But then this is where the Eagles team is really good. Uh, Jalen Hurts had an incredible game. Had that one interception, but everything else, very clean game. Very clean game. Was also able to make some plays on his feet, convert on third downs, get those first downs, move the ball, killed time of possession. So, and kind of made, honestly, it felt like, yeah, made Patrick Mahomes a little bit more anxious. Like even like the first half when things were just getting out of the way, Mahomes threw that interception to Cooper DeJean, and also to Bond as well. It was like, man, like those were killer mistakes uh to really just kind of bury the Chiefs early on, and yeah, go on to basically what Chris Sims said, like just basically demolish the morale of the Eagle or of the Chiefs in the first half there. So yeah, I think the one highlight was Xavier Worthy. I think he had an incredible game, albeit a lot of it was just garbage time yardage. He had that one big, I think it was like a 50-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes in the end zone for a touchdown. He had 8 receptions, 157 yards, 2 TDs. So he had like the best game out of like anybody, but still like, yeah, a lot of garbage time stats there. And I guess focusing on the Eagles, like I think like that's like the one thing definitely to focus on it. Maybe a lot of other teams, it's like it takes more than just like an outstanding, a great game changing quarterback. And I don't know how this is going to affect drafts and stuff, and how teams maybe select. It's very much a copycat league, right? But you look at the Eagles, and hey, look, Jalen Hurts, incredible quarterback. I think it was like the fifth quarterback taken in that draft and such, and but the Eagles are a great organization. Howie Roseman, like I think this is proves like good GMing. Sometimes that can beat like great NFL coaching, even just the amount of talent, the way that the Eagles are just able to like compile this talent despite things like with salary cap and free agency, players moving on, retiring too. Like this is a team that lost Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, both like probably Hall of Famers, right? In the same offseason, and they still had enough talent to win the Super Bowl the next season. Like that's incredible GMing. I think he had the foresight to get some talented players there that could potentially take the place of Jason Kelsey right there with like Landon Dickerson, then yeah, Cam Jurgens, right, who eventually took the job there at center. So then with Fletcher Cox, obviously with Jordan Davis, and then trading up to get Jalen Carter as well, like incredible GMing there, incredible management of the cap, draft capital, and just hitting it on all cylinders there. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, like an incredible draft, and he got these rookies that contribute immediately, and you know, um, yeah, like awesome play. Got an All Pro performance right from the linebacker. Yeah, Zach Bond. The coordinators are the big thing, right? You want to have good coordinators, and last season, the season after the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, they had some pretty bad coaches there, some coordinators there. I know they had like Sean Desai and then Desai, I forget his name exactly. I know he coached for the Bears, he was a coordinator for the Bears, but definitely not in the same league whatsoever as Vic Fangio. Like when I saw that hire, I was like, man, this is a sick team. And then, oh yeah, they also got Saquon Barkley. And it's like, how does this team do all this, right? And that just shows, like, look, you know, again, Jalen Hurts, incredible player, second round pick. So hey, you don't always have to get it on the first round. Just make sure you got good talent. Jalen Hurts was benched right in college during the national championship. I don't know if people remember all that, but yeah, for Tua, he was his backup and all, and then transferred to Oklahoma. But man, yeah, like, Jalen Hurts, man of grit, toughness, can throw the deep ball. Kind of like that modern day Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I think he was a third rounder with the Seahawks. And yeah, had an incredible rookie season, but he went to a talented team. And I think kind of a similar situation with Jalen Hurts, I felt like, landing in a great spot, has a lot of tools just to make plays, whether on his feet, whether throwing that deep ball to some talented wideouts. I think he just went to an incredible organization, incredible coaches, and a great GM, similar to I think what Russell Wilson was experiencing over there at the Seahawks. I think it's a very comparable situation, and he's just made the most of it. So, great guy as well. So, from everything I hear, but yeah, great GMing, great talent, roster building that can defeat an Hall of Fame quarterback. I think this is basically what this proves here. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna be actually going to the NFL Draft Combine in Indianapolis. Feel free to say hi to me if you want. I'll just be there, like scouting. Scouting, right? Just looking at some of the potential NFL talent there and seeing, who's going to be coming up there. I'm going to be doing some things with regards to the Bears, Chicago Bears mock drafts, things like that. I really like doing. Let me know if there's any other teams you want me to like look at and evaluate and see if there's any players, any college or any players that are going to the NFL Combine that you want me to look at and see there, and I'll give you my thoughts. So thank you all for tuning in. Like and subscribe, please. It helps out the algorithm, and make sure you get all the updates here going on forth. So with that, yeah, this ends this episode of the Ball and Breakfast podcast. Thank you for listening, and tune into the next one.